a question for you guys. What does the word young conjure up for you in terms of how grown-ups perceive you and the strength of your voice? That's to anybody who's willing to be the brave one and go first.
Okay.
So, ladies first.
Okay, fine, Terry. So when people say young, when it comes to us, I feel like it kind of means weak. I don't know. And it kind of means like, sit down, I'll tell you what you must do. And we have this covered for you. So that's kind of the negative part of how people view young. And then there's also the young. There's the future for you. The young people are our future, and we believe that they are going to come up with the plans for the future. So there's a two-way to it.
Yeah, so just adding on to that, I think when people think young, they think fresh, they think change, they think the leaders of tomorrow. But in actual fact, it's like we need the young and the old to incorporate that future, because a system doesn't work with a certain part. Both parts need to be incorporated. So yeah, that's what I think of when I hear the word young.
And is that in a cultural context or just broadly?
So I would say broadly.
Any other views, opposed or otherwise?
I think that whilst I'm not going to get mad at being called young. I'll hang on to that as long as I can. But I think when we talk about young, a lot of the time we do talk about the future and not enough about now. I think that especially culturally, we all come from a culture in which respect for your elders is paramount. And I completely agree with that. But that also sometimes means that the opportunities that there are for us to really make change now with the knowledge that we already know and the new insight that we already have keeps getting kicked further down the road because it's for the future, and not for now. And so I think young is sort of a double-edged sword in that there's a lot of power to it. There's a lot that we can bring, a lot that we're constantly learning and absorbing, but the amount that we can implement that is sometimes not as much as we would like.
Tinashe?
You know, it's funny. I think when I hear the word young, I get kind of excited because I think it's the beginning of such a long journey. I think especially when someone says, wow, you're so young. And they're like, well, you should keep on to that, hold on to that. And I said, but why? It's such an exciting, I think mentally you can be young in how you just act every day, you know, and just doing new things. Being young is also to do with kind of like a newness to doing something and to being somewhere, being young in a new country, being young in a new family, you know, in a new setting, you know, being a grandparent, that you're a young grandparent, you know. Your first time grandparent, that's an amazing thing. So I think the word young for me constitutes the word new and also ability to start. So really a beautiful way to do it. So yeah, that's what I get when I hear the word young. I'm excited to get a bit older, you know, like the hair, the beard. Oh yeah, that's me.
So majority and overwhelming view. Barbara, do you come in with any difference in perspective at all?
All the definitions that everyone brought in do make sense. So I'll start on one point. Young has been seen a lot in cultural context as you're for the future, but not for now. And unfortunately, life is happening now. It's not like once we turn 25 or 30, there's a bell that's going to ring and say, okay, now you're an adult. Now we can sort of bring you into the conversation. So you'll find even at policy-making spaces, young people are not brought into the conversation. So we make decisions on behalf of our young people without actually bringing them in. And the decisions that are made from the context of an older generation when they were young. But you know, the beautiful thing about being human beings is we're dynamic, we change. So we need to bring in all those conversations onto the fore. And then I do love what Tinashe says about, you know, young is fresh, it's new. So it's a thing that needs to be brought into conversations every single day, because when we bring in everyone in society into any conversation, whether it's at family level, national level, regional level, then we have all this mixture of ideas that are both new and old so that we can all move together intergenerationally.